And my next guest saying President Trump showed a failure of leadership. The Republican Congressman Scott Taylor is a member of the House Appropriations Committee and a former Navy SEAL. And first, Congressman, I want to say, last week, of course, was a shock to the system. I want to know how Virginians are faring today, and if you have spoken with Heather Heyer's mother, Susan Breaux.
Well, it's great to be with you. Thank you for having me on this afternoon. I have not spoke to her mother, and in Virginia, obviously, this is still on the forefront in the news, in the political discourse, and certainly just on the streets, if you will. Folks are obviously there's a lot of emotions on both sides, but I think the vast majority of folks in Virginia certainly want to put this episode behind us. And do not want anything like this to occur in the future. There's no question about that.
Absolutely. And, of course, you believe that President Trump exhibited a failure of leadership. What is it going to take on the part of the president to make this right? And when you compare his actions versus words, what are you focusing on?
Well, leadership matters, Arthel, and that starts at the top. There's no question about that. And I do believe that, as you explained what I said, that's exactly what I feel that during that press conference and in this episode. That doesn't mean that it can't be redeemed, of course. And I think that you're hearing a lot of political rhetoric on both sides. But I think as a nation, we need to decide how we want to move forward. We can move forward with violence and hate and other things like that, or we can come together, black, white, brown, black, gay, straight, and move forward and reduce the tensions and emotions that are happening here. And that means everyone with the platform, the media, politicians like myself, the President of the United States. I think it's important that we reduce tensions, because tribal identity, racial politics, it's very dangerous. And that's not the direction that we need to go.
No, and President Trump tweeted about a half hour ago, Congressman, he says, "I want to applaud the many protesters in Boston who are speaking out against bigotry and hate. Our country will soon come together as one." I ask you, going back, though, to a week ago, had the president been emphatic and unequivocally denounced white nationalists, KKK, do you think that this free speech rally would have taken place today? And thankfully, it was peaceful.
Well, from what I understand, with the free speech rally in Boston, it was already in the works, if you will. It was scheduled before. I think that yes, it would have been much different on the Boston Common today in terms of the sheer number of folks that were there, both the counter protests and probably even more of the free speech rally had things been different in Charlottesville. And yes, I think it's important for the leader of the free world, of course, to come out unequivocally and state that we're against KKK, neo-Nazis. That type of ideology, of course, has no place in America, no home. Hate has no home in Virginia nor America. And again, what I'd like to see is the rhetoric on both sides, not just the president, because there's certainly a lot of folks on the other side as well, too, who are using this emotion and these identity and racial politics to gain political advantage. And that is dangerous. It's not what we should do as a nation. We should come together in the direction of unity, for sure.
For sure, and to your point, yes, the rally today was planned, but because of last week and the tragedy that unfolded there, you've had 40,000 people that turned out. So I go here now. Of course, there's free speech. There is the right to peaceful public assembly. And again, although today they were not identified as such, if you have the KKK marching through the streets of America, that cannot become the new normal. So how does this stop? How do we stop this, and what is the president's role?
Well, again, I think that leadership matters, starting from the top. And anyone with a platform, whether that's the media, whether that's politicians, leaders, celebrities, the president themselves, I think it's important that the message, the rhetoric, is one of unity and not divisive tribal politics, racial politics, identity politics that you've seen, quite frankly, that have come out in the past week. And I think that is the wrong direction for leaders to take for the unity of this nation. I would call upon all of them, Republicans, Democrats, black, white, brown, gay, straight, whatever it is, that the rhetoric must be rhetoric of unity as opposed to of division. Because if we do that, you will see more protests. You will see more violence. And that is not the direction that we should take as a country.
Can the president lead the country in the right direction?
Yes, I think he can. He was duly elected by the people of America. I think that he has the ability, absolutely, to change the rhetoric, as do other leaders like myself. I put myself in that category as well, too, to move this country. And again, we have to decide as a nation, which direction do we want to move? I think the one of unity is the best one. I think that the one of bringing people together is the best one to do, especially in emotional times like now.
Congressman Scott Taylor, thank you very much for your words and your commitment to unity and your service to the country. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.